So, Mark,
Yep.
what are we doing here?
Well, this is Glenrowan, the siege town of Ned Kelly. And I thought, being craft brewers and in the high country, I'd grow a beard in honour of Ned Kelly.
Is that what you call a beard?
Well,
Yeah. Yeah, but what does Ned Kelly have to do with craft beer?
well, Ned Kelly once had a black dog, so I'm told, and just around the corner is Black Dog Brewery.
Worst link ever.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad. I mean, it's a good one, come on! After what seemed like an eternity of driving, we approached our first destination with Dan trying his best to get on my nerves.
Are we there yet?
No,
Are we there yet?
no.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
Almost.
Are we there yet?
Almost.
Are we not there yet?
Yes.
Ah. Oh, what is it with you and wineries?
Dan, stop whining.
Didn't you use that joke in episode 2?
I may or may not have.
When you're in Ned Kelly country, what are you supposed to do? Oh, jeez.
Ah, mate, you're missing the good. Can I have my hat back?
Oh, geez, that's.
I can't actually see out of
hello?
it. Something's wrong, I can't see. James, how you going?
How you going, Mark? Good to see you again.
It's Dan.
Good to
How
meet
you
you,
going,
mate.
Dan? You too.
It has been a while. It's been, what, nearly over a year since I was last here?
Yeah, I think, no, last time we saw each other was Good Beer Week last year.
There you go. Better year. Close on. Now, I've told Dan all about your brewery and the beer you make and how wonderful it is.
He raves about it.
I do. Some of the best beer I've ever had.
No, he's always given me pretty good support, which is very handy. Always good to get positive feedback.
Honest feedback too as well. But now, the one thing that we both were interested in though was the whole 4th generation winemaker into brewer and how that came about and what brought on Black Dog Brewery.
Yeah, well, I guess when I turned 18, obviously like a lot of people, you get into the craft beer kits, you know, your Cooper's kits and start brewing around, and then you want more. So you start playing with different grains, different hops, and then, yeah, you want to go for the all grain. So I've been doing that for quite a number of years and really enjoyed it, and yeah, thought one day, why not open a brewery?
Why not?
Yeah, so it's probably been about 6-7 years in the planning.
One of the things that Mark and I believe is that beer can give you the same capacity for depth and complexity as wine does. Is that, as a winemaker, is that something you've brought across to the beer side as well? Or?
Yeah, I definitely think so, and probably a good example for us is our hop versus grape dinner, where we showcase a beer against a wine, and to see the feedback you get from the people sitting there and having a meal and having both the beer and the wine with it. They do. They
And
see
people get
complexities.
surprised at how well you can match beer with food.
Last year we had a Confident Duck match with our stout and a giraffe, and we actually had some really big red wine drinkers who've been coming in for generations come back and want more of the stout. So, you know, you can see a movement towards beer.
Small victories.
Yeah, I think so.
Education process, really.
Yeah, well, that's what we're all about here. I mean, obviously, I'm very passionate about my winemaking, but I certainly do love my brewing too.
Now, the other thing you guys have got set up with a few of the other breweries in the area is the bike trail, is it? Or the...
Yeah, basically the High Country Brewery Trail. I mean, it's not, you don't just have to jump on a bike and go and do that, but obviously there's a real connection to cycling and microbreweries.
Yep.
I mean, you know, after you've slogged it out for a few hours on the trails, I mean, the best thing to quench the thirst is a good beer.
Has it been good?
It certainly has, and I think everyone, especially me, being newer to the game,
Yeah.
obviously Bennett Bridge Road and Bright And Sweetwater now, they've been going for quite a number of years, and they've sort of got people coming up already, and they sort of point the traffic down. And if people can pick up the little passport book we got for the High Country Brewery Trail, they think it's fantastic. So it's been good. We all work really well together, and we're actually doing a collaboration brew for Good Beer Week.
This year?
Yeah, this year.
Oh,
Very nice.
breaking news.
After months of Mark talking up these beers, it was finally time to see if this black dog lived up to the hype.
You want to walk us through your beer range, what we've got here to taste today?
Yeah, so basically got 3 of my core beers. So to start with, there's the Lazy Dog Golden Ale. Basically this beer was kind of designed to be just an easy, sessionable beer. It's not too malty, it's not too hoppy, it's just clean and crisp. And yeah, after a hard day out in the vineyard or riding your cycle or doing anything like that, it's just a really good beer to quench your thirst.
Taste those malts.
Yeah, we'll sort of just use light style malts, and the bittering hop in that one's actually Pride of Ringwood, so I try and put it to good use. And also a little bit of Galaxy and some Halliter from New Zealand.
It's a nice little drop, that
That's
one.
good.
Yeah, it's just not too
It's a
over
good
the top.
introductory beer.
Yeah,
isn't
and
it?
that's the whole thing behind it. It is an introduction beer, and you know, quite a few people, especially around these parts, are more used to your Carlton Draft and your VB being on tap. So you've got to have a beer that's not going to be too in their face, and they can approach that and then hopefully work their way up the line.
Work their way up to the Howling Pale Ale.
That's exactly right. So this is more an American style pale ale, very floral, very fruity.
Getting that in the aroma.
Yeah, it's a huge mixture of hops. Probably too long a list to go through. But yeah, it's about being clean and fresh.
Very earthy.
It's got that real nice cleansing bitterness.
And it lasts too. Keeps going.
It does keep going.
It's very nice, that one. That
It's
lingers.
probably not as heavy in the malt character as some pale ales can be, but I'll probably try and design more
an Americanised version.
yeah, kind of in that way, and
West
something that's
Coast.
probably, when I try and look at, say, my wine range, it's sort of something like around that Chardonnay, Sauv
Yeah.
Blanc kind of style of
Yeah.
pale ale, really.
Yeah.
Very aromatic, very floral.
Nice.
That's good.
And then the last one is obviously my favourite.
Yeah, the leader of the
Leader
pack
of the pack
IPA. Yeah, I
IPA.
know you like your hops, Mark. So yeah, we've
Love 'em.
definitely designed it in that
So you
way.
can smell it too.
Big American style
Very
IPA.
tropical, very piney.
But a very big malt backbone to go with it as well to balance out those hops.
Oh, yum.
You get that malt straight up, don't you?
You certainly do.
Caramels. That's my favourite.
Oh, and then it changes, and then it changes, and then it changes.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
my favourite.
Especially give it the right conditioning time too. It really lets the beer settle down and its true flavours come through.
It's very nice, that one.
Excellent.
It's probably been the beer that most people have gone for.
Yeah, that's, for me, it's the best of the range that I've had so far, because I know you've got some new ones that I haven't had, and I heard on the grapevine that you've got a bit of a saison underway at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit of an experiment, utilising some homegrown Cascade. So it's looking pretty good at this stage. Got that real nice funky saison yeast character
Very
coming
yeasty.
through. So we'll sneak you a bit of a sample of that one.
So, this looks a little different to saisons I've drunk before.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different. We've gone for a very, very pale saison. And as I said before, utilising homegrown Cascade hops. So it's going to be a little bit different, but they were wet hops as well. So some
very
different
fruity.
flavours coming through. Yeah, it is very fruity. Got that funky saison yeast character. Obviously, it's not carbonated, it's straight out of tank. That's still to go through. But yeah, you can pick up some of
Oh,
those
wow.
flavours now. So you can imagine,
Screw the carbonation.
yeah, what it's going to be like when it
That's
does
really-
get that carbonation. It's going to
yeah.
be very refreshing, and that's the kind of beer that I'm looking for.
I'm
That
tipping
sort of
that,
stone fruit through
yeah,
it as well,
I was
don't
just
you?
saying, I'm tipping that when you carbonate this, it's going to be nice and fluffy.
It is.
Yeah, just the way it just looks like it's going to end up like that.
There's a lovely mouthfeel to that as well.
So saying though, screw the carbonation, I'll just drink it like this.
Yeah, I've snuck a few samples out of the tank myself.
Oh, God, that's good. Just as we thought we tried all his beers, James unleashed the Hellhound. All right, so this is a Hellhound.
Yeah, a bit of a sneak peek at a trial batch that I did last year.
Imperial Black Ale.
Just an Indian black ale.
Indian Black Ale.
So basically you're sort of looking at a cross between an IPA and a big, rich, dark stout.
Yep.
Something along those lines.
okay.
It's really a style that I've grown to love. Probably some of my favourites would have to be Murray's. Ben from Beechworth does a really nice one called B2 Bomber.
It does, yeah. I've got one of those salads. It's been there for 9 months so far.
Oh, you were pretty wise there. I couldn't sell them on. I had to consume it quite quickly.
I did one.
No, it was a beautiful beer.
Did one, but this is pretty good too.
Wow.
Tell you what,
Yeah, I mean, it's about 8 months old now, so obviously the hop aromatics have dropped away.
it's big
But
and bold.
it's really smoothed out. Still got
Yeah.
a nice hop bitterness to it.
It does.
So it's definitely something that
It's
once
nice
we
and
get
roasted
this,
as well.
yeah. Well, I've
It's almost a
used
smoky sort of.
Yeah.
I've used special malts for that one.
Yep.
Bit of midnight wheat,
Okay. Yep.
and also used some carafa. So you get a dehusked barley, so you're
Yep.
not getting that bitterness that you can get
From-
from your roast barley. You can kind of get an acrid kind of a taste coming
Yep.
through when you use too much of it.
Yeah. That's really nice. That's
Wow.
impressive. I've had some good black ales in my time, but that's
very good.
it's
I
really
think if you had it
nice.
when it was a bit younger and those hop aromatics were there, yeah, you'd probably even think it was a little bit better too.
Yeah.
So-
That is very nice.
Definitely work in progress.
So more to come.
Certainly is.
Okay. Well, just like to thank you for running us through your beer and
Giving us a sneak
giving
peek.
us a sneak peek at what's to come as well with the Saison and a little bit of a hint there on the Gaps beer as well. So it's quite interesting and hope it all comes together nicely.
Cheers for dropping in.
That's all right, anytime. We're going to
Always welcome.
mosey on to Bridge Road now.
All right.
It's a hard life.
If we have to,
Yeah,
yeah.
if we have to.
Very tough job.
It was good to see you again.
You too, Mark.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dan.
Cheers. So I'm here today talking with the real star of the Black Dog Brewery. So how do you feel about being the logo of a craft brewer? Yes, well, I mean, do you think they've got your likeness spot on, or are you unhappy with it? Do you feel like you're being used and abused? I mean, have you gotten any royalties out of this? You're obviously too emotional to talk, so we'll leave it at that. There you have it, folks, straight from the dog's mouth. Which way is Beechworth from here?
Left.
Left.
Beechworth, here we come.
It's along here somewhere.
Maybe it's hidden. Maybe there's a special...
You gotta
door.
want to find it. You gotta
Yes.
want to find it. Ah, here we are.
Oh, I think we found it.
I think we have.
Free bike hire at Bridge Road Brewers.
Oh, it's the beer garden of Eden.
Well, we are in brewing royalty
Yeah, we
here.
certainly are.
This is my kind of
Here we
place.
go. I can't wait for this.
Yeah. There's my favourites, that
Oh, it is
range
true.
there.
Here we go.
Do you want to hold that open for me?
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
G'day guys, how you doing?
How you going?
Dan,
Hi. Good.
nice to meet
Mark,
you.
how you going, Ben?
Good. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Well, what an extraordinary honour it is to be standing in Bridge Road Brewers with these two guys. I mean, this is amazing.
Brewing royalty.
Brewing royalty, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you're obviously here doing a collaboration beer. I mean, this is something that Ben, you're getting really good at, and
Yeah.
you're not too bad yourself, really. How did this come about?
Today's brew came on the back of the beer we did last year when Kieran was here for Good Beer Week, I think, last year, where we brewed a beer that was designed to be shipped in red wine barrels to Norway, which subsequently was called Aurora Australis. And Kieran brewed the same beer back in Norway to put into whiskey barrels to ship to Australia. So we've decided to continue the theme. It was a success. And brew something this year different to put into different barrels and send them to Norway. And once Kieran gets home, then he'll brew again at home and send us something back. So we'll do the exchange again.
Sounds good. Well, Aurora Borealis was absolutely fantastic. So
It was a major success. I know somebody who bought 3 slabs of it from one bottle shop.
3 slabs.
3 slabs for his wedding.
that'll keep him going.
Yeah, yeah.
Collaboration beers seem to be everywhere at the moment. I mean, you were one of the first people to really sort of kick it off in a big way, though, weren't you?
Yeah, we've sort of done a few things. I think the first major thing we did was when I went to Norway and Kjetil gave me the chance to brew. We brewed the India Saison over there,
Oh, yeah.
and that was
Cracking
a really big
beer.
success for those guys and
Cracking
for us
beer,
when
yeah.
we got home.
Yeah.
And then but sort of when the opportunity arises, I try to encourage international brewers to come to Beechworth, but we're a bit out of the way. So I think we're slowly losing favour with the more accessible Melbourne breweries, but we'll keep plugging at it to try create collaboration.
So international brewers, here's where you want to be, all right? So collaborations are taking off. I mean, we know that, but where do you see craft beer heading? Because it seems to be really developing some momentum at the moment. There's a lot of people asking questions. A lot of people are getting into it. Where do you see the future of craft beer for Australia?
I think it's always easy to look at the US and sort of base it a little bit on their market, but they are different. I guess you can see there's sort of different branches of craft beer now. You've got, I don't know, for lack of a better word, so hardcore craft beer that is going down the heavier end of flavour spectrum and trying to push the boundaries and try to do things that are new. Though it's very hard because internationally craft brewing's been around for quite some time, and the US has been really experimental, and in Europe now as well you're seeing lots of different styles. And I think the people that have come to drink craft beer came there because they wanted to try something new and something different, and that tends to be what they want to continue doing. So it sort of forces brewers to continue being new and different and innovative to keep that market happy, the market that first came to them, because once they've had your beer, they like it, but they want to try something else. And so that sort of forces us, which is a good thing, to think of new things and different things. But there's also more, I guess, mainstream craft beer. So we're seeing some softer craft beer variations being made accessible to the general public. So people who probably aren't so aware of imperial IPAs or big collaborations that have been in whiskey barrels, and probably if you presented it to them wouldn't understand what was going on. But that part of the market's growing really quickly, and so I see that sort of some percentage of those people will jump over to a stronger part of the craft beer in terms of flavour, and others will be happy to stick with that. So I definitely see some of the bigger companies expanding with that softer, more accessible side of craft beer, and the small segment of the market that we occupy will grow quite dramatically at the same time. So because it'll bring people over because they went there to try something different, and then they have to step away from those soft brands to try something different again.
I'd like to add that it is quite demanding to please the crowd who are looking for new things all the time. It keeps us, pretty much switched on all the time. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Constantly inventing new things.
Yes. Because there's not much loyalty among the dedicated craft beer crowd. They're constantly looking for the new experience,
Trying something else.
So if you're not, if you don't take a lead there, then you're pretty much sidelined.
So what's the international view of Australian beers? I mean, what are the beers that you like from Australia?
What are the beers I like?
I mean, obviously Bridge Road.
Yes, certainly. There are a number of good breweries, but I have to admit that I think many craft breweries in Australia are very careful.
Yes.
Very careful.
Very careful,
Very
yeah.
subtle.
Yeah.
They start, but they don't really take the leap. But it's changing.
Hesitant
It's
would be the
changing.
word
I was
for
here
it,
last
yeah.
year, and I realized in 1 year lots have changed. So it's an ongoing thing. It's a development.
Excellent.
But still, I think subtlety and being careful is the key word.
There you go.
Well, some of the more interesting beers I've had are from Europe, Europe market, in particular Italy, for instance. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out of Italy as well.
Lots of different things from Italy, yes.
And you don't quite see some of those beers that they produce over in Europe here as much as you probably should.
No. What an honour it was to speak to Ben and Kettle in such a fantastic location.
It certainly was. Hey, did you see the range of beers these guys have on tap?
I think anyone could come to Bridge Road and find a beer they can enjoy.
Thank you very much for your hospitality today. The food looks wonderful and the beer looks interesting, and can't help but look at this lovely little 017, 016 you were mentioning before. What exactly is it?
Yeah, so these two bottles here, we do a few wet hop beers every year. So we harvest hops green and fresh and use them to make a beer pretty much on the same day the hops were picked. So instead of having them dried, we use them and green. We have access, luckily have access to a research garden down the road, and where they trial and develop new varieties. Galaxy is a variety that came from there. I think 12 years ago they started breeding it, and they have a whole bank of experimental hops. So we get the opportunity to go down and look at those hops and choose what we want to use in our beer. We didn't. One hop we had particular interest was 016, but because we take so many hops, they don't necessarily have a huge amount for us. So this year we made 2 batches of a beer called the Harvest, our wet hop beer. One using 016, and we used every plant they had, and the other using 017.
Left none for anyone else.
Yeah, left none for anyone else. So at packaging time, we blended these beers together, so 50-50, so there was no big variation. But before we did that, we bottled a few bottles of each of them to see if we could see the differences between the 2 hops. So 016, much more pungent, big, aggressive hop. 017, which we're drinking now, which is why we're drinking it first, softer. It's still got resinous characters, but just a little bit more understated.
A little bit more earthy.
A little bit more earthy, which is, the hop researchers are trying to find some good aroma hops that aren't big alpha like Galaxy, because they've sort of got that base covered, and they're trying to discover some lower alpha hops that work in providing flavour and also bitterness, but without being tropical fruit dominated or, typical of high
West
alpha
Coast.
hops.
Yeah.
All right. So once you finish that, I'll
very
grab
nice.
the other one. Can I have the opener, please, Steve?
Yeah.
The bar took the opener
The
back.
bottle opener, I love it. When all else fails, use a fork.
And we should note this, all our beers are bottle conditioned, and this one's not yet conditioned. So it's uncarbonated, or mildly carbonated.
It's really nice, that.
So we should notice a little bit of a difference in this hop variety. They use the same recipe, just different hops. Want one? Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, straight away. A lot bigger. Yeah, that. You get that resinous.
So much more pungent.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot bolder. Wow.
But they both have a common flavour in the middle of the palate, which I recognise as wet hop. It's a bit wet bag or green cellulose, or I don't know how to describe it, but it definitely, I don't know if it's
Grassy.
something, grassy. I don't know if it's something I want in all my beer, but if I have a wet hop beer, then I expect it to be there. That's sort of the idea.
So it links the two together. Yeah, it's really nice.
But also the bitterness is much higher you get on the finish. So the blended version is actually really nice. It's obviously a combination of the mild characters with that big pungent, and you can feel the astringent bitterness, and that is really...
Yeah, that's nice. It's wonderful. Dan, we're about to have a side-by-side tasting of Aurora Australis and Aurora Borealis. How cool. I'm very excited. So we're about to drink a beer that you can't buy in Australia.
But it was made here.
It was made here. Made in Australia. Sold
available.
Sold in Norway, not
Sold in
available in
Norway.
Australia. So Dan, which one of these did you prefer?
Definitely the Aurora Australis, the wonderful acidity from the Pinot barrels, and just right on the back of the palate you get that red fruit, prune sort of flavours come through. Really quite an astounding beer.
Was pretty good, wasn't it? I actually preferred the other one. I was more of a Borealis man. I love the fact that it was very similar in that whole fruity, pruny, really dark, raisiny feel. It's almost like a black forest type fruitcake with whiskey poured all over it.
Two beers brewed exactly the same way, but matured very, very differently.
Very differently. Amazing to be able to taste them side by side.
With the guys who brewed them.
With the guys who brewed them. That was an honour in itself.
We could stay here drinking with you guys for the rest of the day, but unfortunately we've got more breweries to get to, so...
I want to stay.
No, we've got to go, we've got more to get to, but
Okay.
Thank you very, very much for your
Thanks for
time.
coming.
Really appreciate it, lovely meeting you.
Likewise.
Thank you very much. And
Thanks, Ben. Cheers.
we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah, we will.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you. Keep brewing all that wonderful beer.
So where to now?
Now we're going to head off to Sweetwater Brewery and Bright Brewery.
All right, let's hit the road.
Road, where we're going, we don't need roads.
But we're driving. We do need a road.
Next week on Craft Beer Crusaders, we find a hidden gem in the high country.
And Mark steals my beer.
Did not.